My beautiful people, it has been a minute. It has been a minute. I am so sorry. Your person has been working and busy, which is a good thing. I actually wanted to talk about that today, and I also wanted to talk about why I might just be changing my pronouns again. What is up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Keara. I am a queer actor, YouTuber, and content creator, and I'm gender fluid, and yeah. The pronouns I normally go by are they/she, meaning like I want you to use both of them, which a lot of people don't get. They're like, oh, well, if she's in there, she's just easier to use because that's how I perceive you.
So I'm just never gonna use they.
I want to talk about that today. I also want to talk about my recent experience on set. Yes, I have just been filming a movie. Very exciting. It's honestly been such a blessing and such a wonderful time, surrounded by amazing humans, playing the coolest, craziest character ever. I feel like a lot has changed in May. Like, May just seemed like such a transformational month for me, and a lot of that has to do with like my own gender identity and my own like self-worth. And I wanted to talk about how my experience has been being a non-binary actor when the majority of the film industry is very like cis white male dominated, and hopefully this can help you in your own workplace, or just provide some sort of feeling of belonging and like you're not alone in all of this. I came out as gender fluid last year, so that's 2021. It was probably around this time last year, actually. I've been on 3 sets since then. The first set I went on, I didn't tell anyone I was gender fluid. I didn't tell anyone my pronouns because it was just still so new to me, and I didn't know that I had the voice and like had the right to speak up for myself. The next film I went on, I felt so misgendered on, and just like, but then again, I didn't say anything about it, so how were people supposed to know? Like, I didn't blame anyone for that, but I honestly kind of blamed myself for not being like,
hey, do you mind using gender neutral terms for me? Hey, do you mind using they, them?
I just kind of let that happen to me, and I felt shitty throughout that whole film last year. Flash forward to this year, the film that I just went on. I went on set, not introducing myself with my pronouns, which it's like, it's easier said than done. Like, you know how everyone's like, oh, when you introduce yourself, just say your pronouns right after. It's just like, for someone like me who doesn't want to draw attention to myself, and like, I'm very much an introvert, and like, I don't like confrontation, that's hard for me to do. It seems easy in hindsight, but for me it is not, okay? I rarely do that, and the main reason is because no one else does it. And so by me doing that, it kind of just like outs myself as like the other, when in most cases I just kind of want to like get along and fit in. I don't want people to look at me differently, you know? And maybe that's my own internalized non-binary phobia towards myself, whatever you would say. There's just still a lot of people who don't understand it, and there's still a lot of people that look at you weird when you say that you want to use they, them pronouns. Like, so anyways, I wasn't doing that for the first week of the movie that I was just on. I was just saying, hi, I'm Keara, nice to meet you, blah, 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 blah. And of course people were, you know, only using she, her. They were saying girls, they were saying ladies, they were saying woman. Usually I just kind of let that happen and make myself feel shitty and not say anything because I don't want to like rock the boat or like speak up. But it was just kind of, it was getting to me. Like, the misgendering was really affecting me, and every time someone would say something gendered like towards me, I would just, something in my stomach would kind of just like, you know, like my insides would like shrivel up or something. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but if you get me, you get me. I started to talk with one of my castmates who I've actually worked with before. She's really awesome, and she's also part of the community, so she understands. I felt okay to open up to her about like, hey, I'm actually gender fluid. I like to use they, them, honestly, more so than she, her. And she was like, oh my God, well, you should tell people, like you should tell production, you should speak up. And I'm like, I know, it's just so hard. Like, it's just so scary because no one else is outwardly queer on this set. She was really encouraging me to say something. And I really, really appreciated that. It actually did eventually help me speak to a larger group than just one person. I was like in a room where the cast members were getting mic'd, where you like put the microphone in your shirt basically. So there were probably like 5 people in the room, and I was talking to my friend about it, and then like more people were like, wait, what? And so then I kind of had to explain myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm actually non-binary, and like I would like to just go by they, them. And everyone was like, oh, well, why didn't you say so? And like people were being very, very nice about it. Like they were treating it like it was no big deal, which made me feel really good. They had no idea, and how can you know? How can you know? How can you know if you don't know? One of the girls that worked with wardrobe, she was like, oh, on one of our previous movies, we got people to include their pronouns on the call sheet. And the call sheet for film sets is basically like the document that they send out to everyone the night before you shoot, which basically says like your call time, the time you need to be on set, who's gonna be on set that day, and then it like lists all the props, it lists like people in the crew, and so on and so forth. And she said that, yeah, we got production to send out an email that said like, hey, if you'd like to include your pronouns on the call sheet, please like email me back with your pronouns. And my other castmate was like, yeah, on my set, one of the main cast members was non-binary, so we kind of had like a bit of a meeting with all the cast and crew kind of thing, like a very informal like meetup on the set. And one of the ADs, assistant directors, was just like, hey, just letting y'all know that so-and-so is non-binary, they use they, them pronouns, so please everyone refer to them as they, them, and that was that. But that kind of scared me because I don't like being singled out. So that seemed like it would definitely get the message across, but I didn't want to do that because that would single me out so much, and I hate that, and I would get all red and blushy and blah. It would just make me feel really awkward. Anyways, it was really nice that they gave me some tips. They made me feel like I wasn't, weird, that there's nothing wrong with me speaking up about that, because it's completely like, I have the right to, The next day I was like, oh, you know what? I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm just gonna call up the AD. So I called up the AD when I was in my hotel room and asked like, is there any way to include everyone's pronouns on the call sheet? And she was like, yeah, no problem, like that's literally fine. And I was like, I feel so bad for asking. And she was like, no, don't feel bad. Like we ended up adding all of our pronouns to the call sheets. Well, not everyone, it was kind of optional, like you could if you wanted to. So quite a few other people included their pronouns on the call sheet, which I really appreciated because I'm pretty sure they were all like cis people, and they made the effort to put their pronouns next to their name so that it wasn't just me. And then the next day on set, people were definitely making more of an effort to use they, them. And if someone said, hey ladies, one of my castmates was like, could we actually use gender neutral terms, just because we don't all like being called ladies or whatever. And I really appreciated that. Like people really went out of their way to kind of stand up for me after that. Like they were being really great allies, and that's something I've never, ever, ever, ever experienced on set before. Mainly because I just didn't speak up about it. But once I spoke up about it, like you'd be surprised at how many people are actually willing to help you out and like be an ally and be there for you. Like at the end of the movie, people kind of forgot, so like no one really used they, them at the end of the movie. But it's okay, because I know for next time, like I'm going to lead with, these are my pronouns, that's it, man. I feel like I have grown so much in this past month, learning to stand up for myself, and it's fucking scary, you guys. I know, like I was getting red in the face when I was talking to my cast members about it. Like I almost started tearing up because it's something so personal to you that like, it's just hard, and I get it. And I know so many of you are, in the same boat where I made this TikTok.
If you're non-binary and don't like attention, this is probably how your day goes. You got 2 options. You don't want to draw attention to yourself, so you don't tell anyone your pronouns, but then you get misgendered all day, so then you feel like shit, but then at least you don't draw attention to yourself. Or option 2, you do tell people your pronouns, but naturally they fuck it up every 10 seconds, so then they're apologizing obsessively, and then you're drawing way too much attention to yourself, but then at least they're trying to use your pronouns.
And a lot of you guys related to that and said that, most of you actually said that you did option 1 where you just don't say anything, and I know how much that hurts, and I totally understand why. And I guess it also depends on where you're located in the world. Like if outing yourself as non-binary or trans in your community or country or city or whatever is like actually unsafe. Like, I don't recommend you to put yourself in a dangerous situation, but if you can kind of like sense that people are gonna be somewhat okay with it and they're not gonna like hate crime you or something, then yes, you absolutely have the right to stand up for yourself. And I know it's scary, but once you do it that first time, it just like opens your door of confidence kind of thing. Like, you grow so much in that moment. Just saying it one time. If you spoke up for yourself that one time, you know that you can do it again and again and again. And I know it's exhausting, and sometimes maybe you just want to leave it be. If you know you're not going to see this person again, it doesn't even matter if you tell them your pronouns, then by all means, like, go with your gut and, you know, take it situation by situation. But especially if you're going to be working with someone for a long time, like, they need to know how to address you, and they would probably feel bad knowing that they were misgendering you the whole time if they found out later that you're not binary and you wanted to use they them pronouns or whatever. Just think of it that way. Like, people, for the most part, if you're in a semi-accepting place, are gonna be like, great, thanks for telling me, so now I can, you know, at least be aware of this. I also talked to my mom because I had told my mom like a few times, hey, I just prefer to use like gender neutral terms for me. I like when you use they them, please. And she just never did it. When I was on this trip, I was visiting her and I just told her like, hey, it actually means, because sometimes people don't actually know how much it means to you. They might just think, oh, you prefer that, but like it doesn't actually like affect you mentally if people aren't using your pronouns, you know? But it really does. Like, for a lot of non-binary and trans folks, it gives you such negative emotion when you're misgendered, you know? And I don't think a lot of people understand that, and I don't think my mom understood that, and that's okay. So I just like brought that up to her. I'm like, I would really appreciate you putting in an effort, because I don't think you are. Like, even if you mess up, that's okay. I just want you to try, you know? I don't care if you mess up and then correct yourself. Like, that is what I want. I'm not expecting anyone to be perfect. After I told her, she's definitely been more mindful of the way she talks about me, and like, she's, you know, thought about, oh, how should I call you if not my daughter? Like, what should I say instead of daughter? And she was like, maybe I'll call you my offspring. And I was like, you know what, sure, I don't care. And other members of my family, I haven't even had this conversation with because I'm not close enough with them, but I'm taking it one family member at a time. So to wrap this all up, a lot of people don't even get they them pronouns to begin with. Like, if someone were to just use they them, they didn't have two pronouns, they just had the one pronoun, they them. It's been difficult for me having the two pronouns, like they and she, because again, like I said before, like, people will only use she. Like, the majority of the public does not understand that stuff yet. If I'm in a queer space, yes, they're probably gonna use both and like, you know, be really good about it. So I'm thinking honestly of just using they them in workplace settings, because, you know, if they do mess up and say she, it's not gonna hurt me. But if they mostly say they them, or at least try to say they them, that is going to make me the most comfortable. I honestly might, in the next, you know, movie that I work on or show that I work on, I'm just gonna say like they them, please use only they them, and then when they slip up, it's not a big deal, because like, I don't mind she her, you know what I mean? In that sense, I'm kind of gonna be transitioning to just using they them. But for you guys, since y'all are great and wonderful at using pronouns correctly, and a lot of you understand like the whole two pronouns thing, I am still okay to use they, she, like, online. That is where I'm at with the pronoun situation. I hope you got something out of this video. If not, I hope you just enjoyed listening. And stay safe, stay healthy. I just want you all to make more of an effort to schedule in time into your schedules to do something that makes you feel good, and you know, whether that's journaling, reading, going for a walk, going for a hike, going for a bike ride by yourself, spending some time alone without distractions of social media or, you know, stuff like that, and just kind of sitting with your thoughts. Like, you'd be surprised at how beneficial that is to your life. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I love you all. I will see you next week. Mwah!